I would say also just practice, man. Everything takes practice. Like, you know what I mean? Like me as an artist, it's years and years of practice, you know, training my voice. And me as a writer as well, it's, you know, years and years of practice. I started off as a poet of training my pen, you know what I mean? So it's like practice, 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 build yourself up. But characteristics of a good writer is also somebody who is not scared to, you know what I'm saying, like forget their ego, like not listen to their ego. You know what I'm saying? It's like you might have a dope paragraph. It's like, dang, I'm killing it. When you get to the editing stage, the editor might be like, nah, take this out. You know what I'm saying? So you want to be able to humble yourself and also just you know, research.
We're going to dive into our session.
Yeah, man.
And to everybody watching, we are with Riflex, who is going to introduce himself formally, but he's an author, he's a creator, he's a musician, a very good
Yeah,
artist.
appreciate that.
He's very, very smart as far as hosting a podcast is concerned. He's going to be giving us insights on how to become a first-time author.
Yes.
So, Riflex, introduce yourself.
Yeah, man. Like you said, I'm all of those things. I wear many different hats, and I'm from Cameroon. My name is Reflex. Born name is Ato Mba. I'm an author, writer. I write a lot. Just recently published my first novel, but I've been writing for a long time now, and I have been publishing for a long time. Like you said, I'm a musician as well. I'm an artist, Afro trap, Afro beats, and also a podcaster. So I host a podcast with Stuck in the Middle. It's a platform for entrepreneurs, innovators, and creators of African descent, where we discuss with, you know, people like you. We've actually had Ivan on the podcast, and you know, we just discuss their experiences, their ideas, and advice on how we can break the mold and move the culture forward. And I think it's amazing what you're doing with this platform. You know, giving a space where people can showcase their different platforms. You know, and it's like a one-stop shop where you don't have to, you know, crack your brain and put up that status like, yo, who knows such and such and such. So yeah, it's really good.
Thank you very much. Yeah, and it was such a great session we had in
Yeah,
Maryland when I
yeah.
came to your studio. It's also very beautiful. I love the colors and everything,
Thank you,
the
thank
energy,
you, thank you, thank you. Yeah,
right?
it's vibrant. I'm actually in it right now. Yeah,
So congratulations to your book, man. That's a milestone. I mean, you're still
yeah.
very young and
I
you're doing,
know.
wow, wow, wow,
Yeah,
wow.
yep,
That's
yep,
that's
yep, yep,
elegant.
yep,
Wow.
yep. Appreciate it. Thank you so much, man.
Wow. So tell us, like, what inspired you to write, this particular book,
Yeah, it's like I said, it's my debut novel. It's called No Such Thing as Halfway, and it really, like, I just felt like it was a very necessary story to tell. It's a very needed book, very contemporary. It's on tribalism and long distance relationships, and I think it's something that a lot of people that I was speaking to were going through, as far as like the effect of tribalism on their relationships and their marriages, and also, you know what I mean, like just dealing with long distance romance. And it just looks at a couple, an African couple living in the diaspora, Demi and Giannis, and they're just fighting for their love over long distance against tribalism. You know what I mean? Like you meet a young lady, you Yoruba, and you meet a young lady, you know what I'm saying, from Igbo, and your parents are like, nah, you can't date or marry her. Don't bring no Igbo. Or you want to bring in a, you know what I'm saying, like a woman from Tanzania, and you're from Cameroon. It's like, nah, you can only marry not only from your country, Cameroon, but your tribe. So it's like it's something that has, you know, been plaguing relationships, like I said, that I personally know of. And it's also contemporary in that, you know, we meet people online and we fall in love. And you know what I'm saying, this long distance is for whatever reason, somebody gets a job somewhere and needs to travel. But a lot of people can relate to it. A lot of people have related to it, and the reviews have just proven that it's a very real thing that a lot of people needed to hear.
That's really wonderful. Like an author, I mean, I
Hmm.
have so many questions to, ask
Yeah,
you, and it's going to be particularly the fact that you've written this book,
yeah.
So we're going to focus more on, the creative process, the writing process,
Hmm.
you know. I mean, there are a lot of people out there who love writing. I'm one of those people, but
Yeah.
each time I sit down to write, after like the first sentence, I can't go anymore.
Yeah.
Can you tell us how, you're able to go through chapters,
Yeah. I always tell people, man, it's like people, a lot of people want to write a book. There's millions and millions of people, you know, something like that, want to write a book. And the first thing you realize is that it takes, you know, a different kind of, you know, person to be actually successful in it. And I have mentors, I tell them, unless you're writing at least 20 minutes a day, you're not a writer. And it hurts to hear, but it's the fact about it. You know what I mean? Like, even with, you know, like whatever you do at your job, you put in the time to practice it. And so I would say just for aspiring writers out there, just cultivate a habit, you know what I mean? Like of writing every day. And, you know, find a schedule that fits you. Like for myself, I like to write late at night. So I write between 2 a.m. and sometimes even 5 a.m. So when people are sleeping, that's when I'm writing because my mind is free. There's no distractions. My phone is turned off. It's away and I'm creating, I'm writing. So it's like, even if it's, you know what I mean, like just one sentence here, one sentence tomorrow, focus on developing that sentence and write every day. Devote at least 20 minutes a day to writing and just realize also, I would say this, realize also that there's a lot of readers out there. Somebody wants to hear that story. That's just as much as there's people who want to write but never get to write. There's triple times many more people who want to read. Incredible
Wow.
numbers. Yeah.
Wow. So how does it work? You kind of mapped out the whole chapters,
Hmm.
or the inspiration comes as you go?
Yeah, it's different for, you know, whatever story you want to tell. If it's a short story or if it's you know, a full or novel or story. For me, sometimes the plot comes first and then the characters. Develop the characters. Or sometimes a character, you know, it might be a minor character or a major character comes as like, hey, this person, you know, is, you know, in a third world country going through such and such and such. And then I develop the plot, you know, after that. So it would just vary with stories. So however you're comfortable with. And I will also say, you know, just start with what you're familiar with. You know what I mean? Like Imbola Boy, who is, you know, shout out to Imbola Boy. She's a Cameroonian author. She wrote Behold the Dreamers, which is one of the biggest books out of Cameroon and biggest books out of Africa right now. It's been on Oprah's list. She, you know, wrote her book Behold the Dreamers based on what she knew. You know what I mean? She was living in New York City, had lost her job, and was looking over in her balcony in her house, and you know just saw, you know, immigrants in the in you know and one of the drivers of a wealthy man, and she wrote her whole story based on his life, and it is what it is now. So just write what you know, or if you're a creative mind, then you know create something that you think people want to read.
Wow. So who's the main character in your book? Is this somebody you know, or?
Yeah, so the book is a hybrid between, you know, fiction and nonfiction. I would say 60% nonfiction and 40% fiction. And it's based on something that I've personally gone through. And we talking about tribalism and long distance relationships, right? So again, I
Right.
wrote from where I know. And the main characters, Giannis and Demi, they're fictional, they're fictitious characters, but definitely based on real people like myself, you know, and people who I personally know who have gone through similar things. You read the reviews of the book, people are like, man, I needed this, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
this is my story. This is my life. You know, people telling me how it was encouraging to them, how it was challenging to them, how it's like eye-opening to them. They didn't know about it, especially people of the Caucasian culture. I think it's a book that Africans would definitely and have definitely related to, and book that Asian community and the Indian community definitely will relate to, you know, especially, you know, we're talking about, you know, the Indian show that is great on Netflix right now, the Indian Matchmaker. So yeah, it's inspired by real life events based on fictitious characters, but definitely a lot of people, real people, will find themselves in those characters, Giannis and Demi.
Wow. Nice. So how do you get about it? Is it like self-publish, or you have somebody guiding you through the process of writing a novel?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, you know, when you for a first time author, when you're looking to write your first book, or what is your second book or third book or whatever book, that's one of the questions you want to ask yourself is, do I want to traditionally publish or self-publish? I went the self-publish route because the traditional route is it takes a lot more time to get the book out. You know, I'm talking years, sometimes, you know, months, sometimes years, because where you have that manuscript. And the beauty of the traditional way is that you don't have to have the full manuscript or the full book written to pitch it to, you know, publishers. You can write the first chapter and they're like, this is a book that people want to read. We're gonna sponsor this, right? Like going back to my Cameroonian sister, And Bella Boy, holla at me, by the way. I want to meet you. Her book, Behold the Dreamers, you know, was the first book by an African American or black woman that received $1 million advance. So with a traditional route, you pitch your book and they say, hey, this is something that we want to sponsor. Here's $300,000. Here's $100,000. Here's $1 million. Here's however, finish that book. We're gonna take it and fund the publishing, fund the editing, fund the cover, fund the, you know, all that stuff, and we're gonna keep royalties. We're gonna keep, you know, the proceeds, and you get royalties. But a self-publishing route, you do all that work yourself, and that's what I did. That means you can publish whenever you want. You know what I mean? You can say, hey, I'm done with the book today. I'm publishing tomorrow. You can say, I'm done with a book. You know what I'm saying? Tomorrow I'll publish next week or next year when I feel like it. But, you know, you have to do the personal work of what I did, watching YouTube videos on how to self-publish, where to put the book, what routes to take, you know, watching, doing research on like how to, you know, copyright a book, how to find a editor, and you know, I have all that stuff, you know, mapped out now where it's like my second book is gonna be much easier. But there definitely is a lot of resources out of that self-published authors. And I would say this, a lot of authors maybe watching this in Cameroon right now, in Africa right now, who definitely will benefit from self-publishing. It's just about going on YouTube University or going on Google and doing the research, and you will find that the proceeds, the money from after, the profit from after, going to your pocket. You don't got to worry about, you know what I'm saying, like royalties, getting royalties. It's definitely doable, and it just takes research and time, and it's definitely rewarding at the end.
So before writing this book, you've been involved with many different things going on, like entertainment, like the music and podcasting, you know, so you already have a community. Do you think that was helpful?
Yeah. So what we've done already is we've developed good habits, right? You asked about, you know, what to do before writing. That's developing good habits. That is, you know, writing at least 20 minutes a day, or just writing, you know, cultivating the habit of writing, and then using your time wisely, which is, you know, doing the research, and also just, you know, crafting different writing times. And so now it's networking. You know what I mean? Like network. You want to be able to, you want to build your platform to the point where it's like, okay, this person is credible. I don't want to say credible, but this person is real. You know what I mean? Like for me, I was an artist already. I literally deleted everything from my Instagram and rebranded myself as an author. You know what I mean? That way, when somebody goes, they're like, wow, you know, and that also just comes with following other authors. You know what I mean? Like shout out to people like Jason and Howard Reeves. There's people that I didn't know before. I know Jason, but you know, other people that I found I didn't know, but they were book lovers. They were book reviewers. They were book, you know what I mean? Like authors. I follow them, see what they're doing, seeing how, you know, how they post, how they read, and just listening to them and doing that research and hitting them up, email, text, you know what I mean? Like DM and like, yo, what's up with this? What's up with this? And just building that network. That way I'm informed. And so it's just doing your research, building your platform. And then that's like the third block from there. Use your time wisely, develop good habits, and build your platform, build your brand.
And what are the skills of a good writer? You know, like what aspect or what character trait can help you become like very good in writing?
I would say just listening to your pen. I would say just listening to your pen, and also just trusting the story. You know what I mean? Like you know, if you're writing a short story, you just want to put it in your mind that every line and word has to culminate in the ending of this story being the audience or the reader getting the point, right? And so just being very intentional with how you craft your words. I would say also just practice, man. Everything takes practice. Like, you know what I mean? Like me as an artist, it's years and years of practice, you know, training my voice. And me as a writer as well, as, you know, years and years of practice. I started off as a poet of training my pen, you know what I mean? So it's like practice, build yourself up. But characteristics of a good writer is also somebody who is not scared to, you know what I'm saying, like forget their ego, like not listen to their ego, you know what I'm saying? It's like you might have a dope paragraph. It's like, dang, I'm killing it. When you get to the editing stage, the editor might be like, nah, take this out. You know what I'm saying? So you want to be able to humble yourself, and also just you know, research, read a lot. You know what I mean? Like when I started writing this book, I took a month off because this is a romance novel, and I read 8 books I read 4 romance novels that were similar to what I was writing, and I read 4 other books on how to write a romance novel. So you can't write a book if you don't read books. So
Wow.
research, research,
Wow.
research, write.
That's interesting. I
Yeah.
mean, at this point in life, we have so many young people with conflicting views about the importance of a college degree.
Hmm.
I mean, do you think your college degree or I mean, being a graduate, has that been helpful? Because I
Yeah.
see you're one of the young people who are doing uh, amazing things out there.
Yeah. No, that's a great question. I think, with college, you want to at least get a basic, saying, education where, you're able to, articulate yourself, construct, well thought out sentences. I have a master's degree. I would not encourage everybody to go get a master's degree, but if you can afford it, then that's your prerogative, then by all means. I personally studied communications. I studied English in my undergrad because I love the language English, right? And I love to write. I love to read. I love to critically think. I love to publicly speak. And when I moved to the United States, actually, a funny story from Cameroon, they put me in ESOL, English as a second language, and thinking I don't speak English. 2 days in the class, the teacher's like, "Yeah, you don't belong here," because my English was that good, right? Even though we're a bilingual country, but I studied literature in school because I wanted to hone my craft. I wanted to perfect my craft because I had a goal in mind. I want to be able to write someday. I want to be able to write books that people are gonna pick it up and be like, "Dang, this is a dope book from a Cameroonian African author." You know what I mean? So get you a basic level of education. That way you can be able to speak. That way you can be able to construct sentences, and then after that you can learn any and everything by yourself. But I would say at least basic level of education is
Wow.
required because it's not cheap too. You know what I mean? So
Right.
getting what you can afford.
Wow, nice. So at what age were you when you discovered that, you could write,
Yeah, I was about I would say about 12. Back in Cameroon, it was a thing. I don't know how it is now. When guys are trying to woo girls, when guys are trying to saying like attract girls. Where I'm from, Bamenda, girls used to love when you actually talk to them. You know what I mean? Like, tell her why she's the one, why you love her, why you want her. And it was not just a one-time thing. It took weeks and weeks and weeks of trying to convince her, like, yo, babes, you're the one, and I'm the one you should choose, right? And
Right.
they love poetry. And my guys, my friends always used to tell me like, yo, write some poems for me, and they would memorize and go tell a girl. And that's about 12 years old. I used to do that. And then when I moved here, that morphed into music, more conscious rap and then trap, just moving with the times and the sound. And then eventually just, short stories and now a book, you know what I mean? But as early as 12, really. And, I've always just been good with words. And I'm just, blessed. I just give God all the glory, blessed to be able to, saying, just construct words that people can read, and it puts them in a different place in life. You know what I mean? Like words that, describe, words that show rather than tell. It's easy for me to just tell you the room is dark, you know what I mean? But I can describe that, you know what I mean? Like the room is dark and cold, but I can describe that, pores, the pores in my hair was sticking out, and the hair in my forearm, stood up as I walked into the room, as dark as, 3 nights with your eyes closed. You know what I mean? Like
Wow,
describe it in
that
a
was
way.
beautiful use of
You know
the
what I mean?
language,
Yeah. So
adjectives and,
yes,
beautifying the word, that's
exactly.
really amazing. I'm really enjoying your story. But before we go, I would
Hmm.
like you to, give some encouraging or inspiring words to, everyone who wants to become an author like
Yeah.
yourself.
Definitely, man. And shout out to, I'm like I said earlier, I'm mentoring 2 individuals right now. My guy Emma, and and shout out to Manny as well. They're both, write short story writers, and Manny actually is writing her book right now. And I would just say, like I said, you want to write every day, and use the internet to your advantage. If you don't have the internet, wherever you are, if it's slow internet, whatever, wherever, just get your hands on a book and read it, and also just find your niche. You know what I mean? Like my niche is stories. You know what I'm saying? Like I write short stories and also novel, romance novels. So just find your niche, find what you're comfortable in, and know that there's an audience there. People love to read. There's a lot of readers out here. So hone that craft. Don't be distracted. I want to write horror. I want to write comedy. I want to write, romance. I want to write, fiction. I want to write, fantasy, or, you know, find your niche, get your hands on different writings in that niche and study the game. You know what I'm saying? Study the game. When I wanted to be a rapper, you know what I'm saying? Like I studied, Joe Budden. I studied rappers that I liked, how they cadence, how they do on stage. It's the same thing with writing. I'm studying, what I'm saying, like Chimimanza. I'm studying Bella Boy. I'm studying even Stephen King. He writes, horror, because horror is very descriptional, you know what I mean? So study the game, do your research, network, and it's gonna be expensive. It's a very expensive thing to self-publish, but if your story is just as good, somebody will pick it up, and when they pick it up, you're gonna be happy. So just think about that and write, please, please, please write.
So where can people get your book, or how can people get your book?
Yeah, definitely, man. I appreciate you asking that. It's right now available on Amazon, Amazon.com, and Barnes & Noble. Just type No Such Thing as Halfway. That's the name of the book. You can go on my website, www.imriflex.com. That's IAMRIFLEX.com. We're shipping in UK. We're shipping in Canada. We're shipping in the United States. If you're in Africa, we're working to deal with DHL right now, trying to get a lot of books down there. But some people have gotten their hands on it already in Cameroon and back home. But if you want a digital copy, we can get it to you if you're back home in Africa. Or if you want a PDF version, just hit me up on my email, go on my website, you find all that good stuff. And I definitely want to get a book in your hands. But if you're in Canada, UK, United States, go on my website, copy your copy, and enjoy it. It's a great read. It's a short read. It's a very relatable read. And it's a real thing. I just wanted to write a book that opens a forum for conversation where we can break this barrier of tribalism and just enjoy a good story about long-distance relationships.
Riflex, I'm very proud of you.
Appreciate it,
you're
brother.
Very young, you're proactive, you're a community builder, you're a leader. Keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you so much.
May God continue to bless you. Thank you all for watching.
Yes.
And
thank you. Shout out to Iwing Marketplace.
You can give some shout out, man. You can
yeah. Legalize Melanin, my book. Go cop that. And shout out to Iwing, man. This is a great platform. So Anyang, I see you. Kelly, I see you. Cavs, 1G, I see you. Appreciate y'all checking it out, man. And Bob's IP9. Thank y'all so much. Thank y'all so much. All right, brother. Thank you.
Okay, we out. Take care, man.
All right. You too.
It's free Flex Friday. Baby, take me, go show your mama. And if I follow you, go see your father. She no send a me get the matter. And if I give you one pay, you go young one. No long ten me and you for the altar.